I was Richie Havens with Freedom. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for November 2nd through November 8th, 2020. Our top story from the week is about two men found shot in South Shore on Saturday morning. The men were found near 72nd and Clyde. One man was hit in the abdomen and the other in the leg. The men were taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center where the one struck in the abdomen died. The man who was shot in the leg was last reported in good condition. A shooting in Merrillville on Wednesday left one person dead and another injured. The shooting occurred on the 82nd 100 block of Rutledge Street. Responding officers found a male inside a car who was shot several times and a second person with a single gunshot wound in a nearby home. The person in the car was transferred to an area hospital where they soon passed. The other person was later released. On Sunday, another shooting occurred in Merrillville at the Red Roof Inn located at 8290 Georgia Street. In that shooting, one person was injured. The two incidents do not appear related. Anyone with information on either of the shootings is asked to contact Merrillville Police at 219-769-3722. On Sunday night, a 29-year-old man was shot near 80th and Marquette in South Chicago. The man was walking when he heard gunshots and began feeling pain. The man was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center and last reported in critical condition. A man was charged following the stabbing of a Chicago police officer during a mental health crisis in South Chicago on Thursday. Francisco Bulmer, age 26, was charged with one count of felony aggravated battery to a peace officer. Bulmer allegedly stabbed the officer on 90th and Burley at an apartment after officers arrived to the scene of a call for a mental health disturbance. The officer was last reported in fair condition. A teen was injured after being struck by a vehicle near the border of South Shore and the Bush on Wednesday. Around 1:15 p.m., a teen between the ages of 12 to 15 was walking near 79th and South Shore Drive when they were struck by a vehicle. The teen was taken to Comer's Children's Hospital in serious to critical condition. Throughout the week, many local residents paid close attention to the U.S. presidential election held on Tuesday. As the results of the election came pouring in on Tuesday, many wondered if Donald Trump would be reelected or if Joseph Biden would be the next U.S. president. Despite what seemed like a close election, the numbers continued to accumulate throughout the country for Biden, and by Friday, it was clear that he would win the election. The AP finally confirmed his victory on Saturday, as it was clear that Trump could not overcome Biden's lead in several key states. However, as of this reporting, Donald Trump has still refused to concede the election and continues to tweet claims of fraud and vows to continue to fight the results. The election of Biden brought about a historic moment as his running mate, Kamala Harris, becomes the first woman and person of color elected as vice president. Kamala is of Black and Asian descent, making her the first biracial woman of color to gain the role. In Illinois news, the first Latina woman was also elected to the Cook County Circuit Court. The results of the election showed Iris Martinez from Chicago winning the seat over Republican Barbara Beller of Burr Ridge. Martinez is now the second woman of color ever to serve in what is the nation's second largest court system as the Cook County Circuit Clerk. Kim Foxx won re-election in her bid against her challenger, former prosecutor and judge Pat O'Brien. O'Brien was a lifelong Democrat who ran as a Republican to challenge Foxx. Yet O'Brien only obtained 40% of the vote compared to Foxx's 53%. Libertarian challenger Brian Dennehy obtained the remaining 4%. In other election news, the Illinois proposed constitution amendment to allow graduated income tax was rejected by voters. The Pritzker-Backed initiative trailed by a 10-point margin. The initiative was strongly opposed by state Republicans and big business, which ran an opposition campaign questioning the impact of the legislation on Illinois business. Many Democrats and the governor supported the proposition, citing the need to fill the Illinois state budget gaps. Finally, an employee at the driver service facility located at 9901 South King Drive tested positive for COVID. The Secretary of State's office announced that the center will be closed for quarantine for 14 days as the building undergoes disinfection. The center will reopen on November 16th. Illinois drivers looking for license renewals can visit the state's website using the address on the right of the page. However, it is also important to note that Jesse White has also extended the deadline for license renewals until February 1st, 2021. And that ends our weekly review. We thank you very much for joining us.
Like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like I'm a motherless child.